May I help you? We'd like to speak with you, if we may. We're the local book-writing scholars and have heard so much about the beautiful Brinya and her ever-caring father. Now's not a good time. Perhaps in a few days. We know this is a very tough time for you. We are aware of your relationship with Rodrik. No, you've misheard. I can understand how you feel. It may have been brief, but I, too, felt something for him. Although I cannot compare to the feelings you both shared. I just said goodbye in the church. It was quite difficult, but I feel better. You haven't been, have you? We can sneak you in. No one will have to know. He had that kind of aura. He really makes you feel like you're a star. Full attention, and he listened. He listened well. Then let's get to the true reason we're here. We don't believe this suicide nonsense. We know there's foul play. Rodrik was strong. He'd never take his own life. To think anyone would believe such a terrible rumor. But who could have killed my Rodrik? We've been looking into it. The benefit of being travelers, people don't know you, though they more easily open up. We don't yet have enough evidence to garnish an arrest, but we've made substantial progress. What we need from you is, well, anything you can remember. Did he talk about something new? Was he acting weird? The most notable thing I can think of is that night. The night of your fight. How? He left a poem. Here. I really hurt him, but I was just so mad. Fights are not uncommon amongst lovers. Though this one clearly left a mark. I'm sure he had plans to rectify whatever caused it. Unless he found it, wherever it was. I don't know how I could lose my hope knife, but he managed, and just the knife, not the sheath or chain. It was such a shock. I lost my temper. He took it. He accepted my tantrum and watched me storm off. I should have realized it sooner. We would have talked again the next night. But that's the night. Last night. I know. How did it happen? They say he cut himself. That was the cause, but he was drugged beforehand. He didn't feel anything. They used what was believed to be his own hope knife. That's absurd. Shh. This is Rodrik's. You can see the inscription. Brinya, my passion, my flame. And he lost mine. We know. If he'd found yours, he'd have informed you immediately. But that didn't happen. Also, the knife is not one of a Trunowan citizen. This one was chipped and ill taken care of. We live and die with them, and the dead are bound. No knife with these walls would be treated so terribly. We're certain it was someone who once lived here, but left with a hatred of Trunow. But why my Rodrik? That's what we have left to learn. Hence, we wish to ask you anything you might know. That night, we were talking about how we couldn't stand up to his father and be open about our love. His family has a long-standing history of subtly slighting the half-orcs, but I didn't care. I loved him. I wanted to walk with him during the day, like everyone else. But he couldn't go against Jagrin. I understand his reasons. Jagrin may well have disowned him. It wouldn't be the first time. We've heard. Although you're both local, and Rodrik was, well, Rodrik, opposing your union would have been tough. I don't believe this is the issue, Cliff. The supporters of the Grafts and those of the Kelvers would have gone to civil war. It doesn't matter anymore. You're here to find my fiancé's killer. I think I know something he kept secret. He lost my knife while investigating something earlier that night. He said it could become his greatest work, likely a detective-focused play. He would find all sorts of inspiration. When we first met him, he went off about an ancient treant, then on a detective spree. It was amazing to watch. I'll get it. You'd rather not have more visitors, I bet. Thanks. So, your investigation brought you here, eh? Fitting. Patrol Leader Jagman Graff. And defenders. Why? I know you've been checking on Rodrik's suicide, and you've done good work. Omas had quite a lot to tell me, after sobering up. And we're still investigating, so... You're no longer needed. I have heard all I need. Step aside. Pardon? I know the Green Devil is inside. She is betrayed and executed for slaying a defender. But this isn't a request, boy. We have no evidence she's the culprit. How can you be so sure to make an arrest? Huh. You learned he was drugged and cut with his own knife. I know the two have been seeing each other and realized it was her knife to do the deed. A last kiss of death, revenge for the breakup. That is all I need. Anyone could have slipped him something and used the inconvenient weapon around his neck. Not just anyone can deliver an ingested poison to a defender. Clearly, she made him a home-cooked meal before he went into the inn yesterday. Oil of Taggart takes just minutes to kick in, yet he was awake for quite a long time. And he ate at the inn. Why have a second dinner? My son had a strong stomach. Clearly it delayed the effects. And he did a lot of work that day. He would have been famished. Where would she even find the oil? I was unaware anyone in town would have it, or could even make the stuff. There are smugglers all over the world. Someone in town must have connections. So you're saying they met in public while maintaining a secret relationship? My son could sneak in anywhere in broad daylight. Few mingle around these parts to act as witness, even if they did meet and have a meal. How do you explain the oil of Taggart we found in a biscuit that was cooked by Cham? If you doubt us, you can ask Head Priestess Tiari. She's the one who detected it. Those priestesses don't care about Ruan, and yet she spent time assisting us. Even as she says last while, are you doubting an Iomedan priestess's devotion to justice? So, Cham's meal was laced with poison, and it was expertly diluted. I doubt Brinya would even think to try such a thing. Then there's the fact that Cham's senses are sharp. She never saw her, nor heard anyone entering. They fought 2 nights ago. The breakup, he lost her hope knife while working, and she was upset. That is why they fought. He had no intention of breaking up. He even wrote a poem last night. May I borrow this? Here. He had no hope knife that night, yet one was on his body, and one in no condition to be either of theirs. Cliff. Shh. There's no possible way Brinya could have killed Rodrik. She had no motive, no means, and no opportunity. But he was my baby boy. Sir, let's head back to the Longhouse. Perhaps have a relaxing drink. I know how to brew lots of teas. I can prepare some, and we have a talk at the Longhouse. I wish to know what you've learned. Drop by later. I can't believe that just happened. Grief can make a man do terrible things. Good thing we were here to set him straight. And now we have to talk to him. Great. That was your suggestion, though we may learn something. Although we can't tell him whom we think is responsible. We'll have to word ourselves very carefully. I need to be alone, to process what just happened, and to think about some things. You've been very kind and sweet. You also saved me from whatever sham trial Chagrin had in mind. I will give you this. That night Rodrik brought his journal so I could read a poem he'd written. When he leaned over, that's when I noticed the hope knife missing. I stormed off and returned home. I was still clutching this. I couldn't look inside. Even if angry, it's still his journal. Even after this morning, I've just been holding it while... I'm certain he wrote about his last inspiration. You can borrow this for now, but return it to me as soon as you can. I'll keep it in the inn until we're done. Thanks for all your help. If you need to talk, I'll make myself available. Thanks, but I need to be alone. Goodbye, and best of luck. Poor woman. Lost her future husband and was about to be hanged the same day. That Chagrin. Upbringing is hard to shake off. I was able to persuade him away, but will reinforce her innocence when we meet up later. And maybe the innocence of half-orcs in general. I don't think I can do that and shouldn't even try. It would take something strong to sway him. It took everything I could think of just to calm him. Imagine if he were thinking clearly. I shudder to think what would have happened. But it didn't, right? For now, we should move on. Sir Morninghawk? Indeed.